Hello, I'm Robert, and the founder of the Doomsday Debunked group, and I'm going to talk through this article that I wrote about some of the worst doomsday fear fact-checking errors in the mainstream press about climate change. And there's been a big problem because the IPCC, they do excellent work, but hardly any of what they say actually gets to the general public, because it's just so appallingly presented in the mainstream press, as you'll see as I go through. So first of all, one of the ones that scares people a lot is this idea about deadly heat. And it seems very scary when you look at the article, like they say, by 2100, deadly heat may threaten the majority of mankind. It says up to 75% of people could face deadly heat waves by 2100. And so people imagine the world just devastated, where nobody can survive at all. 3/4 of everyone they imagine is going to die. But they're not talking about that at all. If you go back to the paper that they're actually reporting there, then it's the way that scientists sometimes do. They redefine ordinary terms. So they redefine the word deadly to mean a heat wave in which 1 in 10,000 people run a risk of dying if they don't take the right precautions, such as making sure that you're in somewhere shady in the middle of the day if it's very hot, and having plenty to drink, and that if you're an athlete, not running dehydrated, and old people making sure that the home is well ventilated, and things like that. And they shared this picture. I shared this video, which shows you what it was like in 2000 and. Let's see if I can move this. I don't need this. And this was an example of the deadly heat. And
the highest temperature ever measured in Britain was recorded at Heathrow Airport this afternoon. It reached 37.9 degrees Celsius, or more than
this was
for temperatures more likely, and it happened this afternoon at Heathrow Airport, west of London, the first confirmation of an. It has already been an exceptional summer, but today temperatures soared higher than ever before.
So
each passing day of this heat wave has made record temperatures more likely, and it happened this afternoon at Heathrow Airport, west of London, the first confirmation of a new high.
So that's the sort of day that they're talking about. A day like that, in which most people are just enjoying a lovely sunny day on the beach, and they have to take a bit of precaution about getting about a bit too much sun, and they might need to go into a bit of shade in the middle of the day. But that's it. And it did kill some people during that heat wave that he described just then. Since then, they've become much better at communicating the importance of taking care during heat waves, and far fewer people died during this year than back in 2003, although similar kind of heat wave. And this is what they mean by deadly heat. And then they talk about lethal heat. Well, they actually call that lethal heat because some of the people actually died. And the future ones are called deadly heat, which they meant a heat wave in which it's possible that you might die if you don't take the right precautions. And these city analogues help a bit. So if you look at this map, then you could go and look up a city, and you can find, for instance, that Ottawa will have climate similar to Pittsburgh. That gives one example. So you can look up your city, and you can get an idea of what it would look like in the future, and that's with a 2 degrees C rise. And so that you can look at it, and you can realise that people are actually living in places that are going to be like what your city will be like when it's 2 degrees warmer. So we're not talking about a place where people are going to die of heat, nothing like that. So then another one that comes up is this idea of the lungs of the world are burning. This became so viral on the news a while back. But actually, and a question you can ask people is, how long do you think it will be before we either run out of oxygen so we can't breathe enough, or maybe that the air quality is so bad that you're kind of gasping with breath because there's too much carbon dioxide, or something like that? Well, the answer is never. It's just not possible. This is a little bit where I look into where it came from, but you can look. One easy way to look at it is that only 0.04% of the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere it can actually that if you plotted that only 0.04% of the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, if all the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere was taken up by our forests and replaced by oxygen, then it would only increase the oxygen levels by 0.04%. All the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Then in the other direction, then if you were to plant an area of rainforest as large as the Amazon, that would reduce the carbon dioxide levels, that would increase the oxygen levels by 0.004%. And so in the other way around, if you were to burn the entire Amazon, then you are only going to lose 0.004% of the atmospheric pressure of oxygen. So we're obviously not in any danger from that. And you might wonder how we managed to get so much oxygen in the atmosphere, and it built up very, very slowly over millions of years. And actually, to produce oxygen, then the trees and plants and algae, they have to somehow get buried without decomposing. Because if they decompose, they're going to produce carbon dioxide again. And so it built up through the gradual layers of peat and coal and oil and gas. And it's because of those getting buried that we managed to get oxygen in the atmosphere at all. And for instance, Scott Denning estimates about 0.001% of photosynthesis is diverted and used to make oxygen in the atmosphere. Tiny amount of all the photosynthesis going on in the world. And you can work out that have I got the figure there? 0.0. Yes, over the last 800,000 years, the amount of oxygen in the atmosphere has decreased by only 0.7%. And this is because there's actually a stabilizing cycle that keeps the oxygen steady in the atmosphere, over and above anything that gets buried and anything gets burnt. If it gets too, when the climate is too carbon dioxide rich, you get more photosynthesis, and that means that decomposition, but you also get decomposition goes faster. So when it gets warm and you get lots of carbon dioxide, you get more oxygen. And when you get more oxygen, then that leads to more decomposition, and then the trees burn more easily, and the oxygen reacts with exposed rocks, and then that stops the oxygen from rising too far. And then when the oxygen gets too low, then the more carbon gets buried and lost from the atmosphere before it decomposes, and the oxygen levels rise again. And so the oxygen levels go up and down, but it's stayed remarkably constant for millions of years. And if you could somehow magically stop all photosynthetic life, and actually half of it comes from the oceans, or more than half, I think it is, if you could actually stop all that photosynthesis, you'd still have plenty of it for over 2,000 years of breathing by all the animals put together.